Hey guys, silage season has begun. And judging by how heavy this crop is, this is gonna take a while. We're trying our hand at the first silage field of the season, and it is a spring triticale that we planted this field as it was seeded, and the fertilizer and some of the places you can see that were flooded out wet this year in the spring. It was a very difficult planting season, but now we are blessed with a problem. I know that's kind of contradictory terms, but the field is very tall. The spring triticale that we're growing here is called AB Stampeder, and we seeded it at 120 pounds per acre. This field is gonna yield good, but it's drying up faster than it's gonna fill ahead. So we've not had a millimeter of rain in a month. So we went from cold and wet all spring to now in July, nothing. And so the crops are actually burning up very quickly. I'll probably get some flack from non-JCB guys, but this is hard going. We're not wanting to drive the tractor too hard, but we're only driving 7 to 8 kilometers an hour to cut this triticale. As you can see, it's a beautiful standing crop, but on a 34 degrees Celsius day at about 80-85% engine load, we're running hot. These plants are dropping a leaf because they're starting to get quite stressed. We got a lot of chaff building up and collecting in our radiator. We do have a flex air fan, and that's keeping the radiator pretty darn clean. However, we are getting a lot of this chaff being sucked up into our air box. So there's a snorkel at the very front of the hood on a JCB 4220 fast track, and it's above the radiators, and that intake comes over the top of the engine and to the back of the hood or bonnet, depending on where in the world you're watching this video from, and that's where your air filter is. And there's obviously a primary and secondary air filter, but all of the chaff is filling the air filter, and so we're having to be preventative. I am a huge advocate of keeping clean air in an engine. Dirty air can ruin a motor, we all know that. So I'm stopping every 5 acres, 10 acres, and cleaning that filter out just to make sure that there's no chaff interfering with the airflow, because we need every horsepower that this motor can put out. We've never cut crops like this year. Even the dry hay, these triple mowers like to eat, but when you want to travel fast at 28.5 feet wide or 8.7 meters, she takes power. And so we're fighting power and heat. I'm asking you guys, any other fast track owners, do you guys have any fixes that you've seen or heard about in even the aftermarket space where there is maybe a pre-cleaner on the suction side of that snorkel that leads to the air filter housing? Maybe that would keep the chaff out, because those pre-filters allow air through, they just don't let the heavy product like the chaff. So if you guys have heard of something, let me know. Hit me up. Well, you can look on our channel's homepage. You can grab my email address there. Let me know what you think, or leave a comment if you guys have a fix for this. Even if you have a fix of something similar happening to you on a non-JCB fast track, I'd sure appreciate the feedback, because farming has a way of not being easy. Thought I'd just take a sec and show you guys the crop up close and personal here while we let the tractor just cool down for a bit. So I've, as you can see, I've pulled out of the swath and we got a little bit of a cut here from the front header, and show you guys this crop. So as you guys can see, it's just perfect consistency. And that's not anything we did. We got to give all that credit to the Horsch Avatar. So the crop is, I don't know, 5 inches above my belly button. You guys all know how high that is, right? You know, I should post that in my in the specs of the channel here, how the height of David's belly button. So tall crop, very thick crop. We actually seeded this crop a little bit lighter. This is at 120 pounds, and we were toying with the idea of 130 on this field, but we did 120, and then we had all that rain, and it just didn't stop raining. So then we were kicking ourselves saying 130 pounds would have been better. More water can sustain more plants per square foot. And then the taps turned off here in July, and it hasn't rained for almost a month, if you guys can believe that. So cold and wet to now hot and dry and no sign of rain. So these plants are starting to show signs of stress. I'm actually very glad that we went with the 120, not the 130, because some of the areas on the headlands where we've done 6 rounds or 4 rounds around the outside of the field with the drill, and when you pull back into your straight lines on the headlands and you see a little bit of overlap, there's some overage there. And any area of the field where there was overlap with the drill on the headlands, the plants are showing significantly more signs of stress, obviously because there's not enough water to supply and satisfy so many plants. So in the end, I think the 120 pounds per acre of this Stampeder Spring Triticale was the right choice. But again, it's maturing faster than we can even harvest it. And we got 4 fields planted this way, so it's go time. We thought we might be able to just have a little bit of a break between dry hay and silage, and that's not going to be the case. The Horsch drill that we just bought this spring had perfect emergence, and this whole field grew just simultaneously. Every furrow is the same. We couldn't be happier with the drill. Just to talk about that drill for a second, this field had no in-crop spray on it. The germination was so fast out of the drill. The only thing I've seen in the field is the odd stinkweed. These little guys here. The odd one of those, which unfortunately they have gone to seed, but this is going for silage. So hopefully during the ensiling and fermentation process, those seeds won't be viable. Anyway, stinkweed isn't that bad of a plant, but that's the only weed pressure we've found in the field. So I think the 6.5 inch spacing, getting that real tight furrow, has actually helped suppress the weeds even more than our 7.5 inch spacing John Deere drill. So very excited about that. Let's get this stuff through the triple mowers and into that silage baler. I'll just show you guys actually real quick before I hop it back into that tractor. The plants, they know they're dying. It's getting too hot to sustain life. So they're trying to reproduce seeds and fill these heads. You know, in a perfect world, we'd be harvesting our silage in the late milk, early dough stage. And as you can see, when we squeeze these heads, it's kind of like a teenage pimple, you know, just a thick amount of white milk coming out of there. And as gross as that is, it's the best analogy to actually trying to figure out what stage of kernel development that they're in. So they're just barely getting past the milk stage right now. If we wait any longer in the 34-degree weather that's forecasted here over the next few days with the dry wind, we're gonna start losing more leaves, and this crop's gonna start yellowing off more than it already has. So you know what, we're just gonna sacrifice a little bit of yield, maybe a marginal amount of feed value, but we're gonna hopefully gain that back with still harvesting this while it's still green, and a few more leaves in every bale will keep them cattle satisfied over the winter. So anyways, let's get back to work. Well, cutting this field a little slower has actually given me some time to think of strategy here and dream some big dreams. You ever heard that before? I guess that's why Krone makes big horsepower equipment like the Big M. You guys ever seen one of those? They're, you know, almost on the same platform as a forage harvester. And then essentially they have a mounted set of triple mowers to them. I wonder if that's where I should be setting my goals or dreams to one day. Maybe these triple mowers are quite a bit for a tractor style platform in crops like this. Hopefully we can be blessed with these kind of crops more frequently, but like I say, this tractor has treated us really well with the triple mowers in the last few years since we've switched from self-propelled disc bines to triple mowers. It's just we've also never had crops this heavy, so maybe I should just stop complaining. It's funny, no matter what piece of equipment you have, it doesn't matter if it's a pickup truck or a horse trailer or a tractor, you're always kind of dreaming, is there something a little different? Is there something a little bit better? We're still very happy with these Krone triple mowers on this fast track. It's just crazy how we got airflow is our biggest problem of the day today. Anyways, I'll stop rambling and show you guys some good drone imagery. Check this out. We finished chopping down that huge Triticale just on the other side of the valley here, and well, had to stop and check out the view, and we moved into a new field here. And I know I don't want to keep rambling on here, but we showed you a video here a little while back, a sorghum Sudan field that died, and we seeded millet into it to help save the field. So that was a video that you can go back and watch if you want. But something else that's pretty cool, and we never made a video on it, we had another fall Triticale video that we did where we seeded fall Triticale in fall 2023. So go back and I'll show you, I'll put a link up here where that video was. We had a little bit of a wreck on that field. We got wireworms in that field and they compromised a bunch of the seeds. So we had a very inconsistent germination and damage across the field. So as soon as we noticed that damage here, I believe it was the last couple days of May. Again, we didn't make a video of this, but I'll tell you about it now. We went to North Star Seed and we just said, you know what, let's throw some annual ryegrass into it. So with our new Horsch no-till drill, we seeded into fall Triticale that was already growing 8 to 10 inches high, at least. It was green and thriving. That no-till drill, we just seeded straight into it with annual ryegrass. And we're here in that field now cutting this, and check out how much ryegrass there is. So as you can see, it's not very thick on the Triticale, and the fall Triticale is only about a little over half the height of the ryegrass. The ryegrass is 4 foot tall to the head, but at least 3 foot tall to all the leaves. It's almost up to my pec muscle that are buried underneath all that insulation. So anyways, what a success story to a field that was coming into a situation of a wreck because of the wireworm damage, because unfortunately we didn't treat the seed. Lesson learned there. Now we seeded annual ryegrass in, which is a very inexpensive seed, and we are going to get great tonnage off this field. This is actually going to make very soft palatable feed for local cattlemen. So I have a decision now to make, and that is, do I put it up as haylage with our Krone Caprina silage baler, or do I dry bale it? I'm leaning towards the silage just because, or haylage I should say, because there's so much grass here. I'm leaning towards that just because there's some rain coming on the weekend and I can get this off via silage. And if we get some rain, that Italian annual ryegrass is gonna regrow. So the big thing here is I wanna try some double cropping. If this regrows, we may have a cut that we may be able to take off in September. There's a pile of fertilizer on here, a lot of PK&S material from Replenish Nutrients. So if we get the rain, she might come. So what a beautiful field to finish the day in, and beautiful crop too. Just massive crop. I can't believe ryegrass could contribute that much tonnage to a field. Man, going to bed happy tonight. Thanks for watching, guys.